The guys, they have they have a house on the top of a hill in Tuscany, and he's had a rough pandemic,
Quarantine.
quarantine, yes.
So,
I visited them 2 years ago. What a fabulous, oh my God, I'd never been to Tuscany.
Just to repeat, we go to the CBST website page and click Facebook. Is that it?
No,
no.
you go to Facebook.
How do I get to Facebook?
Okay, Michael, I'll help you with that individually later, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so it's time. Rabbi, I do have to say that there's something pressing upon many of us as we move into Rosh Hashanah that you might be able to help us with.
Okay.
Can you tell us what time we should plan dinner on Friday and lunch on Saturday? Can you give us any help with that?
Well, first of all, we are going to have a Zoom room open for lunch, both Rosh Hashanah day 1 and day 2, for those who want to have lunch with each other, after, like we do on Shabbat morning, that for those who don't have plans necessarily or want to stay on and eat lunch together. So that will be, there will be a Zoom lunch after Rosh Hashanah day 1 and after Rosh Hashanah day 2 and after breakfast, after Ne'ilah for breakfast. This is going to be the most inexpensive breakfast CBST has ever had. Bring your own. Anyway, so that option will be. So roughly the first night of Rosh Hashanah is about a 2-hour service. So we start, but I don't remember the start time. Is it 6 or 6:30?
6.
And by the way, there'll be an email going out today or tomorrow we're going to do the same thing we've been doing on Friday nights, is that a half an hour before service, each night there will be, but it's going to be much different in that there's going to be contemplative things. All the Psalm 8 readings that you've provided will be distributed before all 4 services, the night of both evening services and both morning services. For the 30 minutes before the service, I urge people to get into the mood if you want to sign on. There'll be readings and photographs and music to help people get into the mood, and including all of your Psalm 8 recordings and some of the greetings that people have made of Lashana Tovah greetings. So that'll be for a half an hour before each service. So the day 1 and day 2 service will end probably around 1:30. And if you're not if you want to come at 10 instead of 9, I'll be doing a welcome at 10 each morning, and 9 o'clock is for the hardcore daveners who want to do Shachrit. At 10, I'll be doing a welcoming, and then we'll do the Torah service, and then the other matters, which are going to be fantastic. I just saw, okay, this is a secret. Shh. We had about 12 CBST kids do a virtual choir. I'm telling you, because we can't do the blessing in the normal way this year. So they've been working for a long time. Anybody in the chorus here knows it's very hard for an adult to do these virtual choirs. I mean, it is really, 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 really difficult. And Sharon Golub and Nora Isikoff worked we have about 12 kids. Not everybody made it on screen, but some of them just their voices, because we couldn't, as you know, it's very hard to do. But let me just tell you, so that's going to be during the day on Rosh Hashanah. You do not want to miss that. Like where we would have done the blessing, which is right after the Torah service. There's no shofar on day 1 because it's Shabbos. But oh my God, I just saw it. Let me just tell you, it's a 3 Kleenex box moment.
All right.
So yeah.
So
Any other questions about Yontif, so that I'm happy for this group to know everything. There'll be emails going out. We will not be broadcasting on Facebook. There will be a notification on Facebook that tells people where to go. And if you've already registered, you'll get that information directly. And I urge you, if you haven't, please register. If you have friends you want to invite, wonderful. The more the merrier. Have them register. If you're registered, you'll get all the information via email directly to you.
all right. So we have a special treat this morning, don't we? For our
Yes, we do.
All right, let me get to that. And if you have questions about the high holiday services, please put them in chat and we will see them there and we will answer them.
So those of you know the fires on the West Coast are just horrifying. And this is Rabbi Ruchi Sophia Motzkin-Rubenstein, who was an intern at CBST for 2 years. And she's now the rabbi of a synagogue in Eugene, Oregon. The fires are within 10 miles of the synagogue. Many of her congregants have had to be evacuated, but inside Eugene itself, they haven't had to evacuate, although the smoke is so intense. She has two small children. Nobody has been able to go outside for 6 days. So I spoke with her yesterday. I've been reaching out to her over this time, and she had sent this to her members of her congregation, which I thought all of you would appreciate. It's a setting of line of the verse pasuk 8 of Psalm 27. So you could see different people take different. Yes, we can see the video screen. So this is line 8 of Psalm 27.
All right.
So I promised Ruchi that we would be praying for her and for her community and everybody on the West Coast who are so badly affected by these catastrophic dystopian fires. I put this link in the Psalm Zoom Facebook group. And you know, on Zoom, the music is a little distorted. So if you could go and listen to it on the YouTube, which is on the, I think I put it on the Facebook group, you'll hear it even more clearly. Zoom is not great for sharing music, but it's so profound. She sent that out to her whole congregation in a email for this week. They had hoped they were able to do some small things in person, but they, because of the fires now, not because of COVID, nothing can be in person, and the smoke is just. I don't know if we have any. Somebody was in Washington, right? Who was visiting Lori? How is it in Washington?
It's awful. It's awful. I'm just crying listening to that song. I have a 2.5 and a 6-month-old grandchildren, and we can't go outside, and most people don't have air conditioners. So, I mean, you can't see past the kitchen window, and it's really scary.
Yeah.
We're praying for rain, and you can't. It's hard to breathe outside. My daughter-in-law's nosebleeds, and
Yeah.
just awful.
And even here in LA, I mean, we had a fire very close to me, but thank God they put it out right away. But the two fires that are sort of 15 and 30 miles away, the wind, it's just same thing. Can't go outside, can't exercise outside, put on the KN95 mask just to even water my garden.
Yeah,
Animals suffering.
Yep, and Lori Crotman is in Seattle now, right, Lori?
Yeah, I've been here for a week.
Marla, yeah, my daughter and son-in-law and grandchildren are in LA, so I'm very, very connected to what's going on. All right, now we're going to start diving into our personal Psalm 27s.
Yes, Michael Goldstein, are you prepared to go first here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. Goodness is the light of wisdom in my salvation, the bedrock of my existence. So what should I fear? Those who attempt to destroy me will fail. Even if an army attacks me in war, I am confident in my faith. I strive to do the good for my entire life, focused on and dwelling in the sanctuary of goodness. Goodness will shield me and elevate my soul over the fray. Consequently, I make glorious music to give thanks for doing good. Does goodness result in blessedness? I aim to do good in my heart and soul. Committing to the good has always given me strength, so do not reject my efforts. Even when my parents rejected me, doing good has been my salvation. Let goodness be my guide through negativity and evil, shielding me from dishonest and wrong accusations. To lose belief in goodness, justice, and righteousness is unfathomable. So be courageous. Do good.
Fabulous, Michael. So would you tell us about writing it? Give us a little bit of your process and what you were going for here.
Well, as you know from previous comments, I have trouble with Adonai and God, and I prefer to use the good and goodness. To me, that is the ultimate. And so I use that throughout this service, this psalm, and I realize after writing it and examining what I did, that this is a prayer to myself, that I'm telling myself how to be good.
Love the way that you actually use this goodness, like the Reconstructionist prayer book does, to take a characteristic of God rather than a name of God in that classic way. That's beautiful.
Thank you for explaining that. I had no idea that's what I
But
did.
that's really beautiful, and that by putting it in the caps, you're really emphasizing its godliness, the connection to it. And did you go through it line by line? So is this, if we were to count it up, is it in the 14?
Yes, it is. Yes.
You've kept the architecture and you really went through it line by line, and that's a beautiful way to do it.
Thank you very much.
Really love this, Michael. Really love your style. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is Ira around? Is Ira ready to go? I know you had some scheduling issues, Ira.
Yes, I am around. Here I am. Good morning, everybody.
Your offering. Maybe you'd like to introduce it as I find it. Okay. I know it's here. All right, here we are.
Okay. I think I'm going to read the second column first and then the third column, and then I'll sort of explain what I've tried to do here. God, when I asked for your protection, I should have been more specific. Now I find myself high upon a rock, isolated, lonely, the sun scorching my face, the wind fiercely howling around me. You have shielded me from my enemies, but now I am cut off from the world, from those I love, from my own heart. I call out to you, begging to be in your presence, to be touched by your holiness, yet you are nowhere to be found. Have you abandoned me? Or have I abandoned myself, leaving behind hope, forsaking faith? If you are indeed my light, my guide, then shine your light on the path that I may find my way down from this rock and return to the land of the living. Wow. And now I'm going to read the last column.
Talk to us. Yes, okay, go ahead. Keep going.
High upon a rock, I am shielded from my foes, but cut off from life. I call out to you, seeking to live in your house. Where can I find you? So many others have abandoned me before. Please don't forsake me. Shine light on the path, lead me down from this high rock, return me to life.
Sorry, I just love this layout. Talk to us about what you did.
Okay, so what I did here, so when Psalm 27 was sort of percolating in my mind, I was going more for freestyle poetry in my head. And, you know, and everybody knows well by now that I've been trying to keep this haiku going throughout the Psalms, but that's not what came to me first. So I first wrote the freestyle poetry, and what, you know, it's based on many lines in the Psalm. So in the first column where I have the Sepharia translation, it shows which verses are connected to this part of the poem. I didn't use every single verse from the Psalm, but many of them, but as you can see, they're out of order. So, you know, the number in front of the translation, 5, is the 5th line of the Psalm. And so afterwards, I thought it might be an interesting idea for me to, you know, to interpret my own interpretation. So it's like a level down. It's like, okay, first I'm offering my own interpretation of the Psalm, and then in the haiku version, I'm offering my interpretation of my own interpretation. So it's sort of like, you know, peeling layers of an onion. The two salient themes from the Psalm that really spoke to me were this image of being on a rock, but this in the Psalm, the writer, for the psalmist, that is a safe place, evidently, a place where the psalmist feels protected. But for me, that image was exactly almost the opposite. It was a place of not feeling protected, feeling alone and exposed to the elements, and it wasn't a safe place for me. So I kind of zoomed in on that. And then the other, there's such a powerful theme of abandonment in the Psalm. And that also was something that really touched me deeply. So that's kind of the two places I went into in writing this.
I feel like in this you're demonstrating what I talked about with the Pardes, the Pshat, the four different levels, all in your own interpretation. That you've gone through your own process by saying it's an interpretation of the interpretation. There are different layers. Very, very beautiful. And I love also the format is very interesting and very Jewish. You know, to have multiple interpretations. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really beautiful. Very creative. Thank you.
All right. Randy Sarikoff, for whom this is her psalm.
Okay, this is my interpretation. A song for David. Adonai, be my light. Rescue me from a world filled with darkness. Guide me to find the strength to not be afraid. Adonai provides reinforcement, surrounding my life with love. Whom shall I fear? My enemies are many, attacking me from all sides, from within and from without. Why do they not stumble and fall? Even if my enemies were camped just outside my door, my heart, strengthened by your light, shall be strong. Though battle is waged against me, I have trust in your light.
You there, Randy? Are we hearing Randy? I am not hearing Randy. No, Randy, we've lost you.
He looks frozen.
Okay. We're going to take this down. Randy? We're going to give Randy a chance to reboot herself, and we will go back to the other.
We all need a chance to reboot ourselves.
We all do.
Very spiritually deep.
All right. We will go to Sherry. Sherry Dratfield.
Okay, I'm here. I'm not yet frozen. Temple, inspired by Psalm 27. Before sunrise, a soft light suffuses my morning, brightens. This light infuses sky, mind, heartbeat. I carry you up rocky summits. Welcome, light, my house on the precipice. I implore you, enter, stay, rescue, stay.
Wow.
Spectacular, Sherry. Would you talk to us a little bit about it?
Sure. My talk will be longer than the poem. The formal elements that I started using, Rabbi, you had talked about the 5 words, 6 words, 7 word lines in the verses. So that's what I did. And I also used that M dash that you so cherish upon discovery, and also the use of the images of light, of the temple, tent, house, of the rock, mountains, and of shelter, rescue. Of light, rather than the external divinity, the external light that's uplifting, I felt that it infuses internally. I take the responsibility, actually, and I carry it rather than it carrying me on the climb up to the summit. Similarly, I bring the light into my house rather than visiting its domain, because the temple is a part of me. It's an aspirational poem. And I utilize the rock and the mountain, the place of divinity, also as a place of danger. So there's the ability of this quality of light to rescue. Does that mean I rescue myself? I think in the end, I do reach out to there's rescue, saving, providing shelter. I infuse everything external and internal. And then in the end, all of our houses are on the precipice, and faith is on the precipice, confidence, destruction. So just as there's no punctuation to save the world, and the word precipice, there's nothing to keep it from falling off the cliff to the next line at the end. We're constantly on the tightrope of faith, hope, and action, and we don't know what's next. So I don't have any punctuation there, so it may fall. And there's no end of poem punctuation, just as there's as yet no answer as to whether the imploring will actually work and the light will remain or be my rescue or leave the world.
And I love the repetition of light in all three. That's clearly the, I have to say, I read this and I think of a Greek island. You know, the light, the rocks, the light, the morning, the brightness, where light is just, you feel it in a way that you just don't feel if you're not on a Greek island watching the sunset or the sunrise. I mean, just this, and I love the idea of carrying it up the rocky summit. It's very interesting, beautiful, really beautiful.
Thank you. I guess this is my every year we journey to Greece, and I guess this year instead of that I wrote this poem.
I feel it.
All right, so I understand that Randy is back.
I'm back. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Thank you, Optimum. Okay. A song for David. Adonai, be my light. Rescue me from a world filled with darkness. Guide me to find the strength to not be afraid. Adonai provides reinforcement, surrounding my life with love. Whom shall I fear? My enemies are many, attacking me from all sides, from within and from without. Why do they not stumble and fall? Even if my enemies were camped just outside my door, my heart, strengthened by your light, shall be strong. Though battle is waged against me, I have trust in your light. One thing I ask of Yud-Hey Vav-Hey, the thing that I seek, to know the presence of Yud-Hey Vav-Hey all the days of my life, to bear witness to the light that is Yud-Hey Vav-Hey, the light that reinforces the holiness in the world. I find shelter from despair in the sukkah of your presence, lifting me to safety on the holy mountain. I lift my head with confidence, though enemies surround me. I shout out with joy and sing psalms as I ascend to Adonai's holy temple. Shekhinah, listen to my words when I call out to you, expressing gratitude, praying that you will respond to me. My heart yearns that you will say to me, request my presence. Yes, it is Yud-Hey Vav-Hey's presence that I seek. Do not hide your presence from me. Do not abandon me in anger because of my flaws. You have been my rock. Do not abandon me. Help me. Do not reject me. Light the way to my redemption. Though my mom and my dad reject me, Yud-Hey Vav-Hey, you see me for who I am and love me anyway. Teach me, Yud-Hey Vav-Hey, the way. Guide me on a path of Tikkun Olam. Protect me from those who do not believe in facts or honesty. Shelter me from those who decrease holiness in the world, those who would attack me with lies and false facts. Would I not believe that Yud-Hey Vav-Hey would reveal justice, goodness, love, and light that will increase the holiness in the world? It is unthinkable. I have hope in Yud-Hey Vav-Hey. I find strength and courage within myself with light in my heart and hope for Yud-Hey Vav-Hey's presence.
Wow, this is spectacular. Thank you, Randy. Talk to us about it.
Well, this was, I've been working on this since I wrote it back after Shavuot and presented a quick version there. But after studying for 3 weeks with you guys, I found things I wanted to add. For example, the initial caps, small caps, I have 13 references, just like the original, and kept it in similar format to what Alter did. I'm still not great with Hebrew. I tried my best to keep up with you, Rabbi, but it changed a lot of what I had done. I was really sticking very close originally to CBST's interpretation.
Beautiful.
And now I tried to get closer to, I guess, what would be the original text.
With your deep layer of connection, which is so meaningful, given the depth of your connection to this psalm, it's really beautiful, really beautiful.
Thank you.
And I do appreciate that you're, and I love, so you can see what Sherry did is as legitimate as what you did. That Sherry really took one idea and then created something, not necessarily needing to stay to the 14 verses. And you're, by deeply interpreting and going into each verse for yourself, given that you have a relationship with the original psalm, that's very beautiful. There's no right or wrong, it's really what moves you. That's what matters. And the psalm is kind of the springboard, it's the jumping off, and everybody's going to take it a little differently. Beautiful, and very nice to keep to that number 13, so that it's, when we recite the 13 attributes, you're connecting back to the psalm that you've written itself. Beautiful.
The other piece important to me was I kept in the pieces that referred to Rosh Hashanah, the light, redemption for Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. I wanted to keep that in as well.
Wow. All right. Let's see who is next. Noreen. Is everyone hearing me? I'm not, all of a sudden I'm not hearing. Okay. Noreen, it's you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is
color.
I'll let you all take a second to go through it, and then I'll kind of do my walking guide. This is Psalm 27 for me. If you take a second, you'll notice that the 4 posts for the tent of coverage and for the holy presence. I thought about tents and the Israelites. So I was thinking about poles. So there's 4 poles, and the 4 poles also refer back to the day to day 4 in creation. So pardon me, Rabbi, I don't have the background for this, but in my own researching and reading and thinking about it, I wanted to acknowledge so that you obviously can see the creation of the moon and the stars and the sun, and then the day, and then the earth itself, which matches into the colors of where the field of battle will be. And then also I want you to note, if you can, that 4th back circle, there are 3 small burns that are very, unfortunately, that are very unique. And from that center going out, they were my interpretation of the shofar. So that lies in the tent of holiness, and about sound. So that's for the angels and that were referenced in the, anyway. So our David, the spokesperson for the psalm again, is seeking shelter and he's protected. And you can see here where everyone's falling away who has pursued him. And you can see the ark of the dust, coming because of the presence, it pushes back. And you can see all the other matches falling away. You can also see an arc around them of light that's penetrating into that morass. And in the real life, you could see some of these matches are seeing the light even in this battlefield and starting to rise and to come forward. So that's my interpretation of Psalm 27.
Just spectacular. Just spectacular. And again, this is the same size? Are you staying with you're keeping a consistent size for all of them? Can't hear you, Dean.
They're all 24 by 36. That's the outer panel. And then, you know, the field of paper, which is, as you know, is by the copper nails, is secured by copper nails. That's all about 21 down, 20 and a half, and then 30 across.
Am I wrong? But it seems like there are a lot more matches visible in this one, or am I just not remembering?
Yeah, I went through all the stanzas, so I was trying to
got
get
it.
various movements that would happen at different times, and I love that crescent arc that you know, it moves you into the battle and then takes you to the safety, and your eye, if you sit in front of it, will go back and forth, which is how I experience holiness, that it's present and then
Spectacular, just spectacular, Dean.
Let's see. Stephen Deem.
Unmuted. Hi there.
Hi.
My opponents are everywhere. They set traps for me in mundane places. Hide me, Holy One, like the insect that looks like a leaf on a limb. Hide me from the jaws of those who wish to eat me alive.
Oh.
Like the great horned owl, change my hide, make me look like the bark of the tree. The Underground Railroad has been penetrated. The slave patrols have been unhidden. Armed guards stand at the exits. They want to take the captives back to narrow places. Their tasers are trained and automatic weapons are ready. Remember the St. Lawrence, the lady in the harbor wails as she reads the names aloud. The children are hiding in attics and under rocks in churches behind broken noses. I rarely leave my hideout anymore, my high in the sky nest above the city. I have a magic charm attached to my door to hide me from my enemies. My opponents seep in anyway. They crawl under the door. They zoom into my room on my electronic devices. They enter my nervous system, hiding on the waves of clever jingles between the news and the weather report. Outside, I hide my face behind a mask to hide me from an opponent who hides in droplets. On your holy breath, I am breathless. My mother and father hid their face. They were shamed by who I wasn't in the Jewish American dream machine. I hid myself from myself. Unhide me, expose me to the light, cleanse me. Don't hide your face from me. Hide me in your holy house. I receive your holy breath into my heart. I cobble together your holy house within the invisible spark in my heart. Photons travel through a vacuum at 186,282 miles per second, hidden to the human eye. Electromagnetic waves, a chorus of color, burst open 13 times. We are at oneness in the room where dreams are born. My opponents cannot find me. They are blinded by the light. I am light. I am gravity free. The evil ones flee. The hidden is unhidden. The opponents crackle as they are deleted from my hard drive nervous system. Peace is not to be bestowed upon me. I have to be what I will be. More light.
Oh my God.
Wow, Stephen, what a tour de force. Talk to us. Tell us about creating this.
Well, I cut a lot out. And this morning I wanted to add the fires, but it was too late. Hide. The word hide came up in the discussion, and it reminded me of my father's English translation from Yiddish. He used the expression, to protect something, hide it. You know, hide the key. You got a ring, hide it, protect it. And that resonated with me through the entire piece. So as I was writing, I went through the piece and I looked for all the places where in American English, I would find other ways to say it. as we talked about in the Psalms, that the psalmists make the puns on the word. So I tried to find as many ways that I can use the word hide. And I let that guide me through the poem. And then, of course, I changed it back and forth. And then I took some of the hidden and I used other words like, my enemies can't find me, they are blinded by the light. I really wanted to say, I am hidden by the light, but I couldn't do it. So that's essentially it. And that's what guided me.
Well, it's fantastic. And this is a great example of using concrete contemporary references embedded into these very deep psalm references that, having studied this for now these time, everybody can, those of us who have been studying it, see that, and it's fantastic. So what a great use of very contemporary historical moments. And we'll see when we look at what are called some of the historical psalms, we can't necessarily, like, what would this read like in 2,000 years? People are going to read it, Stephen, and say, what exactly is he referring to? And maybe they'll figure out some of it, but not all of it. And that's what makes it, this is a beautiful example of a historical psalm. And there are in our 150, but this, just love your use of language, really fantastic.
Thank you. And I love being here to be able to receive this.
I think we have time for one more. Judy Frank, are you with us today? Judy, unmute yourself. Do we see Judy in chat?
I came up.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. 1 minute. Adonai, I trust that you are the light that shields my life. When bullies try to make me fear them, I look to find you, Adonai, for I know you will protect me. Please, Adonai, let me be with you all the days of my life. I sing and chant to you, Adonai. Please hear me, Adonai. Know me by my prayers. Please let me know your presence. That's all I ask. To feel you surround me, even if I can't see your face. Let me know you by the feel of your all-encompassing embrace. To know that I will try to look and live in this embrace all the days of my life. You have helped me before. Even though my parents have become absent from my life, I know you will be there for me to teach me your ways. I see your sadness. May others also hope in your powers forever. That was that, yeah.
Beautiful. So talk to us, Judy. Tell us about your writing this.
Well, when I was younger, I was hospitalized and had operations before I was 3. And I think at one point I was in a lot of pain, and I had a dream where I felt the presence of either God or the angels comforting me and telling me I would get through this and I wouldn't be alone, because then you couldn't have visitors. You know, you're very structured back in the early 50s. You could only see your parents certain times, so you were alone. I remember being alone a lot of the time and hugging myself. So I really feel for the separation of the children down at the border, because they know it's very, very hard to deal with for young children. So, and I always want, and I say, you know, before I said I was afraid to ask for the face of God, because he told Moses, you know, you die, so I don't want to see his face, but I really want that presence in my life forever. And Psalm 23 previously was my favorite psalm. So that was, yeah, I think.
Well, it's wonderful to build up a library, of psalms that are meaningful, and that's what I hope one result will be. But this is so beautiful and so deeply personal, and expresses such emotion and that longing and the sense of vulnerability and fear, which is one of the deep places the Psalms go, is a place that many of us can't publicly admit, so to speak, or can't, it's not, the Psalms go to that place of deep vulnerability, the deep sense of fear, and then shifting to that place of getting comfort from the protection, which isn't superficial protection, it's deeper than that, of a connection to the Holy One. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Why don't we play out with Rabbi, oh, hi Randy. Why don't we play out with Rabbi Ruki, Sophia, Motzkin, Rubinstein, and we will see you all tomorrow for more wonderful class offerings. Okay, Rabbi?
Absolutely, and please go to the Facebook page and you'll see this YouTube so you can listen to it and study that particular verse, and you see how much she brings out in singing over and over again one verse of Psalm 27.
I put her information in chat.
Of you, my heart has said, seek my presence. Your presence, Adonai, I will seek.
We can't hear it, Harold.
Wow. All right, everybody.
All
Until
right, everybody,
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for wonderful, wonderful expressions of Psalm 27.
Thank you, Rabbi. It was fabulous. I love it.
Thank you very much.
I love it.
Thank you for all your positive comments about goodness and God.
Oh, I love that one.
Thank you. I'm
That
not
was
an atheist.
beautiful.
I'm not an atheist. I just prefer to use the word good
Well,
instead of
that's
good. Hey, Bob.
fine. That's fine. I don't